put on the main screen. So yeah, so because we're talking about America, we're going to look at a recent Texas bathroom bill, which has been signed into law restricting trans rights. So we're going to have a look at that, like we usually do on this channel, and just discuss it and see what the key things are about this. So I will put the screen for us so we can see. There you go. So you can see the story there, and I will look it into more detail. Let me move that out of the way. If I can close that window, yes, we should be able to see it better. Okay, perfect. So, and like I say, if the microphone goes off tonight, let me know, please, because if I talk for ages and you can't hear anything, it's a bit of a nightmare. Okay, so what is this bill? What is it all about? So, what's happened here in Texas with the bathroom? Okay, well, this is the article, but I will read it to you now. So, what's happened? So, the Texas government, Greg Abbott, has signed a Senate bill requiring people in state-owned buildings, including schools, universities, shelters, prisons, and government offices, to use bathrooms and facilities that match the sex on their birth certificate. So, public buildings, which means basically any well, obviously all those ones I just mentioned. So if you're trans and you're in the state of Texas, you are no longer allowed by law to have access to those facilities. And if you are in those facilities, you are breaking the law. Let's see what it says. The law takes effect from December the 4th, 2025. So it's not in law yet. We've got until December 2024, 25, sorry, which is not so far away. Now, here's the main thing. It imposes a fine starting at $25,000 for the violation. So, for example, if I go to Texas for a holiday for some reason, and I go in the toilet, and then someone says, "Hey, let's see your passport," and I show my passport, and I say, "Oh, you're trans." Yeah, that's $25,000. What? That sounds absolutely mental. I cannot believe they're doing that. Okay. And like I said, it covers the restrooms, it covers showers, locker rooms, changing facilities, and even family violence shelters. So yeah, wow, that's absolutely disgusting. I can't believe that's happening. But you see, this is the thing. I look at this and I think, oh, I'm so glad I don't live in Texas. But then it's like at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, but this is what you said about toilet situation before. You know, I was saying in the UK, you know, I'll never come to England. We're not that crazy. Is this going to happen in England? Is this what we're going to do in England? Are we going to have fines? Because we don't do it by state. We just do the whole country. Because we're only, I mean, is England even as big as Texas? So, you know, I mean, crazy. Critics say the bill will expose trans people to harassment and danger, especially youth, whilst supporters frame it as protecting privacy and dignity. Yeah, well, they always do, don't they? They always say, you know, the supporters of all this, like, oh, it's better. Why is it better? So you're going to have basically any transgender person now. Well, basically, if they go to the toilet, they risk getting fined. Just for the toilet. I mean, I hate that I have to talk about the toilet all the time. It's not just the toilet. It's just being you basically living in a state in America that you know that they don't class you. They class you as other. That if you go to use the toilet, they're gonna basically a good chance you could get fined. I mean, I don't know who polices these toilets. Do they have people on the door to check people's ID? I mean, realistically, can they even police this? So, you know, but the same thing. It's like it's just the idea that it exists. What an awful place! What an awful place! I'm sorry, but if you're from Texas and you agree with this, I'm sorry, but you are backward. You are backward in so many ways. That is so awful what you're doing. The state has given little clarity on how enforcement will work. Exactly. How are you going to do it? How are you going to do this? How are you going to employ people at the door, check toilets, raising fears of profiling, surveillance, and unequal treatment. Again, yeah, what happens if there's someone who doesn't conform to gender stereotypes? What happens if you have a woman with short hair? What happens if you have a man with long hair? Does that mean that, you know, if you're using the bathroom, um, what you misgender them or something like that? There might be people like, wrongfully accused. It must, it must be awful like that to live in a country, a state that's going to basically, profile you every time you go to use the restroom. It's ridiculous. So why does this matter? Let's see. Why does it matter? Daily life at risk, of course. This is not an abstract. It affects how trans people attend schools, seek shelter, or use public facilities. Ordinary acts of living are now subject to harassment and legal penalties. Yeah. So basically, like I said before, just going to the toilet. But if you're a trans kid, like, you forget about it in Texas. There's no way you can't use the toilets that your for your identity. So you just won't get the respect while you're at school because you have to use public facilities and you're already banned from using those facilities. Institutional burden. Schools, shelters, and workplaces must adapt policies, risking lawsuits and confusion over complaints. The law reshapes public spaces for everyone, not just trans Texans. Yeah, well, this is what it's going to be in it. Because if you're a business and you're pro LGBTQ plus, and then you say, "Well, I want to let trans people use the facilities." What happens if you're a trans person? You have a business, and you want to use your own toilet in your own business. So, say you had like a cafe or something like that, and you had a male and female toilets. All of a sudden, it's like, well, I can't even use the toilet. What happens if you're working? Like, say you work in a coffee shop. Just give you an example. Like, you're working in a coffee shop or something, or any business. I guess it doesn't even matter if it's a coffee shop, but you're working there, and then, like, you go into the toilet, and it's like, what? So every time I go to the toilet, I have to. Well, technically, I have to use the man's, and then you're a trans woman like myself, and every time you go in the men's toilets, you're kind of like, because this is basically, I wouldn't. I'd still use the women's. Fuck it, just find me. But I'm saying, every time I go to the toilet, it's gonna be like all the men in there going, what's going on? It's like, it's okay, I'm trans. Oh, okay, no problem. You know what I mean? Plus the fact I won't go in there anyway, so I don't know why I'm saying that. Civil rights clash. Okay, the federal protections under Title, I think that's 9. Okay, and other laws may collide with the state bill, setting the stage for a major legal battle that could reach national courts. Oh, right. So there is laws there to protect trans people, I guess. So there's some type of law. I don't know which law it is. So there is some law. So there could be some court cases over this. Stigma by design. By writing exclusion into law, Texans effectively mark trans people as outsiders in. What's my outsiders in public life, reinforcing the message that they do not deserve equality, dignity, and safety. Yeah. Well, I think that's the key thing, isn't it? Really, at the end of the day, um, if you put laws like this in place, you make it so you're treated that way. So even if you're a trans person, you say, okay, I won't use the toilet. That means when you go out, you don't use the toilet. You don't dare use the public toilet, and you'll get this kind of feeling of living in that state, like you're not welcome. You're not welcome in your home, because if you were born in Texas, that's your home state. That's where you live, and feel like I'm not welcome here. The leaders of this state, they don't recognize me. So I normally give an international perspective on these things. So I'll try and see what it says internationally. So we've got Texas joins other states pushing restrictive bathroom bills, echoing earlier fights in North Carolina. So yeah, there's more states, isn't there? I mean, I'm still learning about the different states, about what their laws are, but I think I heard North Carolina also was pretty much an anti-trans state. These laws feed into the broader wave of anti-trans legislation, including healthcare bans and sports restrictions. Yeah. United Kingdom. Here we go. Let's see what England's doing. whilst no equivalent bathroom laws exist, yes. So at the moment, we don't have anything like this at the moment. But the recent Equalities Act ruling biological sex may embolden efforts to restrict trans access to single-sex spaces. Yeah, that's my worry. That's my worry, because I see something like this happening in America, and I know that the group that's brought the court case forward for let me get my headphones off, for Women in Scotland, who brought the court case for the Equalities Act to get gender only be recognised for biological sex. I know that they're looking at ways of trying to restrict trans people into toilets for trans women in women's toilets and things. And this could be a way that they could try and bring that forward. Like, oh well, what happens if we fine people? That could be a way of stopping them from using it. But again, how would you police that? That's the thing. In Europe, okay, we always mention these places. Poland and Hungary are similar privacy and protection arguments to justify exclusion policies. Yeah, they always do this. Show how culture wars frame internationally. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, the thing is that their arguments about this being like a privacy issue and protection stuff doesn't really show up, because there's no proof that trans people are a danger to cis people. There's no proof of that at all. It's completely made up. But they keep using it as an argument, saying that's the reason why. I don't know of any trans people that go to the, like trans women who go to the women's toilet and decide to attack women. I've not heard of anything like that happening. I mean, if you have, please put it in the comments. I'm sure somebody will put it in the comments later on. But I've never heard of anything like that. Canada and New Zealand, these countries enshrine trans access to facilities in law, presenting a stark contrast. But online culture was spill over into local debate. Yeah, I think I mentioned about this yesterday, about how the internet can affect, can spill over to other countries. So even though we do know Canada and New Zealand are more acceptant of trans rights and for trans people, but that doesn't mean that all of society shares those beliefs, because at the end of the day, you've got we have the internet, and the culture war that we have here in England and in America will spill over to those countries. So anyway, what about globally? Well, bathroom access is not a side issue. It's a flashpoint for whether trans people can participate in public life at all. Texas law sets a precedent others may follow, with worldwide implications for equalities movements. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? At the end of the day, I mean, this is something that could spread into other countries. I am worried that it will spread into the UK. To be honest with you, my opinion right now is it probably will. It probably will. I know it sounds kind of sad thing to say. I don't want to be that person that says, "Oh well, it probably will," but unless we can stand up in court and get try and get this stupid law that's been put forward for the High Court in the UK kind of amended or changed in any way, or get any support otherwise, I just see like this could be a way that they feel like, well, if we find them, maybe we can find trans people. It just seems awful. And like I always use the example, when I'm in Thailand, I go to Thailand every year. I spend time in Thailand, and there's no issue with the toilet. I never have any problems with the toilets. There's never this thing where they say, "Oh, trans people can't use the toilets." When I'm in Thailand, it's as if that discussion isn't even discussed. No one thinks about it. Trans women, trans men, they use the toilet that they identify with. And I think as well, if we're going to keep talking about toilets, just make them unisex. If this is all it's going to be, a big argument about bloody toilets, just make them unisex then, okay? If you can't accept trans people in the toilets, then just get every toilet that's a public toilet and just make it unisex. But you see, then it wouldn't work to their argument, would it? They're saying, oh, but because women might get attacked by men, and it's like, yeah, men, not trans women. But it looks like you've got no other option, because if you carry on doing this, what you're going to do, trans people are still going to use the toilet. You're just going to fine us. So in Texas, if that law goes through, it's just like, well, so you're going to You're just going to criminalize trans people. So that's what you want to do. But it's not workable. That's not even workable. Anyway, sorry, I do get a bit emotional about this because it is annoying. It is annoying. I mean, if you're watching this, you're not trans, and maybe you think, well, why are you bothered about this? Does it matter? Like, yeah, it matters a lot. People say to me, what are they doing with your rights? You've got rights. It's like, do you feel like that's rights? Do you feel like that's fair? So, I live like this. You see what I look like and everything like that. And you want me to go in the men's toilets, or it's okay, you can go in the disabled. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for letting me go in the disabled toilets. No, I'm gonna go in the women's. Anyway, welcome to 2025.